Good evening and welcome to tonight's news bulletin, coming to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. But first, the headlines. His Highness Sayyid the Yazan bin Haytham Al Saeed will preside on Monday over the laying of foundation stone for Jude project in Sultan Haytham city and the Yamal city in Al-Manuma. The Sultanate of Oman and the Republic of Botswana signed 4 agreements in the energy, mining and financial sectors. And the Sultanate of Oman reaffirms its unwavering support for the rights of the Palestinian people and calls upon the international community to fulfill its legal and humanitarian responsibilities towards the Palestinian cause. Thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Highness Sayyid the Yazan bin Haytham Al Saeed will preside on Monday over the laying of the foundation stone for the Jude project in Sultan Haytham city and the Yamal city project in Al-Manuma, a move that reflects the Sultanate of Oman's attractiveness as a promising regional hub for urban investments. The implementation of these 2 projects comes within the framework of strengthening investments partnerships and expanding the presence of international companies in the Omani market, reflecting the growing confidence of global investors in the real estate sector. This direction is linked to the priorities of Oman Vision 2040, which places economic diversification and financial sustainability at the forefront of its pillars, along with empowering the private sector to lead urban development, expanding the base of quality investments and stimulating the construction sector through organized urban projects that enhance the efficiency of non-oil growth and strengthen the status of the real estate sector as one of the pillars supporting the international economy. The implementation also comes as an extension of the development agreement that was signed last May on the sidelines of the launch of the Oman Real Estate Conference and Exhibition and the Design and Construction Week in its 20th edition, with an investments value exceeding 1,700 million Omani Rials. The Sultanate of Oman and the Republic of Botswana laid the foundation for a long-term economic and investments partnership by signing 4 agreements in Gaborone, the capital, covering the energy, mining and financial sectors. These took place on the sidelines of a visit of His Excellency Abdus Salam bin Mohammed Al Murshidi, Chairman of the Oman Investments Authority, to Botswana. The first agreement concerned cooperation in the energy sector between OQ Group and Botswana Oil Company. It includes conducting joint studies and exploring investment opportunities in energy infrastructure and storage solutions in Botswana. The second agreement, signed by OQ Trading Company and Botswana Oil Company, involves conducting joint studies related to energy and product trading, as well as exploring opportunities for supplying energy products to Botswana. The third agreement stipulates the development of renewable energy projects between the Omani government-owned platform O Green and the Ministry of Minerals and Energy of the Republic of Botswana. The fourth agreement concerns a partnership between NAMAD Investments Group and the Botswana Geological Institute for mineral exploration, including gold and diamonds. The National Industries Development Committee discussed the progress of industrial sector initiatives and the enhancements of the readiness of industrial investments opportunities. At its third meeting, the committee discussed ongoing efforts to develop the regulatory framework for several industrial initiatives aimed at increasing factory efficiency and improving the business environment. The committee adopted a number of recommendations, including strengthening coordination among entities concerned with investments opportunities, standardizing professional fees according to specific government frameworks, expediting the completion of standard specifications related to industrial sectors, designating a department with the Ministry to review the readiness of industrial opportunities before promoting them, and monitoring initiatives related to promise industries and national programs supporting this sector. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Qais bin Mohammed Al Yusuf, Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investments Promotion. The Sultanate of Oman has successfully established itself as a leading regional investments hub, driven by comprehensive structural and legal reform incentives and facilities, as well as sustainable economic environment. These factors have significantly streamlined foreign capital investments, earning it praise from investors as an attractive destination for long-term foreign investments. The Sultanate has prioritized strengthening the legislative framework for investments to provide a clear and stimulating business environment. These efforts have contributed to strengthening the confidence of foreign investors and creating a stable investments environment in line with the objectives of Oman Vision 2040. An Omani medical team at the Royal Hospital successfully removed an aggressive cancerous tumor from the liver of a 3-year-old child in a complex 6-hour operation. Earlier, the child was diagnosed with a large tumor cancer of skeletal muscles, one of the most aggressive and rapidly spreading types of malignant tumors in children. This type of cancer originates in muscle tissues, and it's characterized by its ability to spread to adjacent organs and metastasize to other parts of the body. The tumor affects approximately 80% of the liver, extending into the abdominal wall and internal organs, including the colon. During the operation, advanced techniques were used to resect the liver tissue, minimizing bleeding and protecting the bile ducts. This ensured that the remaining portion of the liver was able to gradually regain its vital functions after surgery. This achievement reinforces the Royal Hospital's position as a leading center for the treatment of liver tumors in children, particularly complex and rare cases. The Sultanate of Oman reaffirms its unwavering support for the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people, including their right to self-determination and the establishment of their independent state with East Jerusalem as its capital. In its statement during the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, delivered by His Excellency Ambassador Idris bin Abdul Rahman Al-Khanjari, permanent representative of the Sultanate of Oman to the United Nations and international organizations, the Sultanate of Oman emphasized that the suffering of the Palestinian people continues under the weight of occupation and illegal measures, including restrictions of freedom of movement, illegal settlements activity, and forced displacement, indicating that these practices are a flagrant violation of international law and resolutions of international legitimacy. His Excellency affirmed that the Sultanate of Oman continues to support the Palestinian people in attaining their legitimate rights and achieving their national aspirations. He also noted that the Sultanate of Oman calls upon the international community to fulfill its obligations to the Palestinian people with its legal and humanitarian responsibilities, and by taking practical and decisive steps to reduce these violations and create the appropriate conditions for achieving a just and lasting peace that restores to the Palestinian people all their national rights and enhances security and stability in the region. A spokesperson for the United Nations Office of the High Commissions for Human Rights said at the United Nations Press Conference in Geneva, Switzerland, that violence by Israeli forces and settlers in the Israeli-occupied West Bank has surged over the past 2 years, leaving more than 1,000 Palestinians dead with almost no accountability. Jeremy Lawrence, spokesperson for the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, said that he was appalled by a recent incident in Jenin where Israeli personnel were seen on video shooting and killing 2 Palestinian men. He indicated that impunity for Israel's security forces' unlawful use of force and ever-growing Israeli settlers' violence must end. In this statement, Lawrence said United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, urged independent, prompt and effective investigations into the killings of Palestinians and called for those responsible for violations to be held fully accountable. Syrian government called for the international community to take urgent action to halt Israeli incursions. Syrian officials said that Israeli forces in southern Syria raided a village and opened fire when they were confronted by residents yesterday, killing at least 13 as Israel fights on a number of fronts while the shaky ceasefire in Gaza moves forward. Syria's foreign ministry said in a statement that the attack was a horrific massacre and that women and children were among those killed. The Israeli state news agency Sana said the Israeli forces entered the village of Beit Jenin, aiming to detain local men, and opened heavy fire after being confronted by residents. Ukrainians today said they saw no end to the war after Russia launched a vast deadly air attack which killed 3 people and wounded nearly 30. Kiev residents were surveying the damage as smoke poured out of blackened residential buildings after a heavy night of explosions that mostly targeted the capital. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia has launched around 36 missiles and nearly 600 drones in the attack, with more than 600,000 households left without power after strikes on the grid. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and yet to come in our news bulletin. SMEs Village become a key space for entrepreneurs and productive families in Bidiyah Carnival 2025. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Embassy of the Sultanate of Oman in the Federal Republic of Germany held a reception to celebrate the glorious National Day. The event was attended by a number of senior German federal government officials and members of the German Parliament Bundestag, as well as heads of diplomatic missions and members of the diplomatic corps. Representatives from various areas of the private sector, along with the representatives from the media and cultural affairs sectors, also participated in the event. Forward Keys, a Spanish international company that specialized in travel and tourism data worldwide, reported a 7% growth in international tourism to the Sultanate of Oman. To learn more, here is a report on that.
International tourism to the Sultanate of Oman has witnessed a 7% growth, as confirmed by the Spanish international company Forward Keys, which specializes in travel and tourism data worldwide. This is between September 2024 and August 2025. The company stated that the first half of the current year saw strong tourism growth from European markets, with Italy, Spain and the Netherlands exceeding 44% and the Swiss market growing over 35%. Statistics and analysis from the company's platform about aviation movement in the Sultanate of Oman indicate that Gulf markets account for about 40% of total tourism to Oman, with strong growth from the Bahraini market at 30% and the Qatari market at 8%. Additionally, tourism from the Singaporean market saw growth exceeding 34% in the first half of the year, while global search rates for international flights to Oman rose by 43% from September to November of this year. Indicators also highlighted that the international flight capacity to Oman from September to February 2026 will grow by more than 31% from the Italian market, 24% from the British market, 253% from the Russian market, 83% from the Swiss market, and 56% from the Malaysian market. Forward Keys also pointed out that the tourism sector in Oman continues to grow with promising opportunities from Europe and Asia. They emphasized that the growth in European markets indicates Oman's success in targeting luxury and cultural tourism sectors, enhancing its position as an alternative destination to many European spots.
The Governorate of North Sharqiya Bidiyah Carnival 2025, the SMEs village, became a key space for entrepreneurs and productive families to present their work, enriching the experience for visitors throughout the festival. Here is more in this report.
The activities of the Bidiyah Carnival continued to draw a steady flow of visitors from across the Sultanate of Oman and beyond, with programs shifting between cultural showcases, sports events, and family-friendly spaces. At the center of these accompanying activities stood the SMEs village, giving entrepreneurs direct access to the growing audience.
This is a chance for me to promote my products, and I am here in Bidiyah to get exposure and meet customers from Oman and abroad.
Entrepreneurs and productive families transformed the village into a lively marketplace of local crafts, homemade dishes, design and innovation. Each stall reflected the character of the community and the drive of small businesses taking advantage of the winter tourism season.
We as a protective family, we're so happy to be here in Bidiyah Carnival. We are selling our products that we made at home. Also, we want to grow our business.
Beyond supporting local enterprise, the exhibition offered a vibrant space that enriched the experience of the visitors and the overall appeal of the carnival. The carnival is unlocking new avenues of growth that solidify the position of Bidiyah across the sustainable development landscape of Oman. Reported from the Wilaya of Bidiyah, this is Saleh Baqalfan al-Rahbi, North al-Sharqiya Governorate.
This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Highness Sayyid Yazan bin Haytham Al Saeed will preside on Monday over the laying of foundation stone for Jude project in Sultan Haytham City and the Yamal City in Al Manuma. The Sultanate of Oman and the Republic of Botswana signed 4 agreements in the energy, mining and financial sectors. And the Sultanate of Oman reaffirms its unwavering support for the rights of the Palestinian people and calls upon the international community to fulfill its legal and humanitarian responsibilities towards the Palestinian cause. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin. Thank you for joining us and good night.